What's going on, everyone? Welcome to episode 40 of the Game Room Podcast. I'm your host, Rome, alongside my co host, Dev.
Yeah, I thought it was 39.
No, it's 40. I'm pretty sure it's
Yes.
40.
Should be
Is
39.
it 39? Oh, my notes
Yeah.
were wrong. 39. It's
Really?
episode 39.
Early.
Yeah, I'm one too early.
Yeah.
It's episode 39 of the Game Room Podcast. What's going on?
Much.
Playing games?
We got two Monday Night Football games going on at once. It's crazy.
What's going on, producer Jeff? How you doing tonight?
Doing good, man. Just wonder why there's two Monday Night Football games on at once.
Writer strike. That's.
Oh.
I mean, that's what I heard. I heard a rumor that was all it had to do with the strike is that they're trying to hold off on what they have in the pipeline. So.
Oh, really?
Well, I think
That's not a bad idea.
I think they said that like Monday Night Football this year is going to be on ABC and ESPN at the same time. So
Well, here we are.
They're trying to fill in space.
they're trying to fill in space. But anyways,
Pay people. Pay writers.
I thought you said you wanted to pay the AI.
Not what I said.
No.
You weren't listening at all.
What?
Trademark.
But anyways, we have a lot of video game stuff to get to tonight, including the controversy with Unity that happened this past week. We're also going to be reviewing the Nintendo Direct and PlayStation State of Play that happened this past week as well. We have a lot to talk about. Let's get into it. So let's start with Unity. So this story came out last week on, I believe, the 13th. Unity obviously being the, an engine that game developers use for their video games. IGN reported that game developers aren't happy with a new policy from Unity that will cost developers a small fee every time someone downloads a game built on the Unity game engine. It's called Unity Runtime Fee, and the new pricing model would apply to developers who reach a certain amount of installs and revenue. We are introducing a Unity Runtime Fee that is based upon each time a qualifying game is downloaded by an end user, Unity's announcement reads in part. We chose this because each time a game is downloaded, the Unity runtime is also installed. We believe that an initial install-based fee allows creators to keep the ongoing financial gains from player engagement, unlike a revenue. The Unity runtime fee was scheduled to take effect on January 1st of 2024. It had been universally panned by developers.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing, right? When making the script for this show, I had to make the choice to just not include game developers' comment. Because I had so many of them, we would have been here for an hour reading all of the developers and all of the studios who came out, opposed to this.
Just know that all around it was like everyone hated.
Yeah.
Every
so
developer.
There was an update. There was a few. So the first update, Unity ended up walking back some aspects of the runtime, and after escalating anger from developers, according to Axios, the fee would now only apply to the initial installation of the game. So that was the other thing that IGN didn't mention here. So originally, every time somebody downloaded the game that runs on Unity, any game, they were going to get feed. Yeah. There was going to be a fee. So not just the initial installation, but if, like, say you uninstalled it and reinstalled it, the developer would have to pay a fee.
Yeah.
Demos would also be under that.
And I think it was 2 cents of download, but that adds up,
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it was more than 2 cents. I think it was like
per download.
It was like 4%.
No, I think per download it was like 2 cents per download. You should say it when you.
Yeah, we'll get there. So Unity's blog post details what games would qualify for Unity runtime fee based on two criteria: the game passed a minimum revenue threshold in the last year, and the game had passed a minimum lifetime install count. Unity further lays out minimum revenue and install count to quality. You are correct; it is 20 cents, with different thresholds for developers using Unity Personal, Unity Plus, Unity Pro, and Unity Enterprise. For small indie developers who use Unity Personal or Plus, they'll have to pay 20 cents per install once their game passes $200,000 in revenue. So I think that is also that's a over the last 12 months, 200,000 life-to-date installs. The new policy has caused a lot of backlash among developers who are raising concern about free-to-play games, charity bundles, and more.
Especially with Unity was known for being, I think Unity's like in like the top 10 biggest engines because of it's so cheap.
It is the direct competitor to Unreal.
Yeah.
Like those are the two big powerhouses.
Yeah.
There are other ones, but we're talking about like that are outsourced to developers. Like publishers have their own engines. You know what I mean? Like Activision has its engine, Bethesda has its engine. It's in the top 5,
like best, arguably number 1. You know what I mean? Like it can go back and forth with any of the top 5. But
right, for sure. So Michael J. Foxney put out a great example here. So it's like make a game. The game is freemium, which is basically free to download, but microtransactions. The game makes 200,000 from in-app purchases after being installed 3 million times. The developer would now owe Unity 20 cents per 2.8 million installs, which would be $560,000. That's $360,000 more than this game would have theoretically made.
Yeah.
So you'd lose money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. There was a bunch of outcry, a lot of negativity around it. And again, it's just like what happens with charity bundles, like which happen often in indie development. Like that's the Humble Bundle and like all those things. Like those are all things that happen regularly.
No, indies usually go to almost all of the games on VR is Unity. It's like people and developers are quitting Unity now, so it's like they're gonna find other engines.
Yeah, I mean,
most likely go to.
What can you do?
Yeah.
So that's gonna bring us to our next point in all of this. Now, I just want to point out, number one, we're just reporting. Eurogamer said this is all alleged. I'm reporting what was reported. Take that with what you will, and you can make your own. So Unity bosses, and again, this is from Eurogamer. Unity bosses sold stock days before development fees announcement, raising eyebrows. Unity executives sold thousands of dollars worth of shares in the weeks leading up to last week's hugely controversial announcement that it would soon charge developers when one of their games is downloaded. The company has subsequently softened its stance slightly on a couple of aspects, but fury across the industry remained. Behind the scenes, CEO John Riccitiello shifted 2,000 shares last week on September 6th, allegedly, as noted by Yahoo Finance, which note this move was part of a trend over the past year where the exec had sold more than 50,000 shares in total and bought none. Several others on Unity's board of directors also sold shares in the past few weeks, including president of Grove Tomer Bar-Zeev, who sold 37.5 thousand shares on September 1st for around $1.4 million. Yeah, I know. Shlomo Dovrat, meanwhile, sold 68,000 shares on August 30th for around $2.5 million. Pretty cool to see, UK developer and director Bright Rock Games Scott Richmond ironically wrote on Twitter. Unity had been run by John Riccitiello since 2014, following two infamous runs at EA from 1997 to 2004, and then again in 2007 to 2013. Riccitiello previously made the headlines after he had to apologize, saying that developers that don't prioritize monetization over the creative process are, his words, quote, some of the biggest fucking He had to apologize, walk it back. He said, my word choice was crude. I am sorry. I am listening. I will do better. That's, you know what that reminds me of? The South Park joke where he's like, where it's BP and like, we're sorry. We're so sorry. So very
He's
sorry.
Not even apologizing for what he's saying. He's apologizing for cursing.
Yeah, he's like, I'm sorry that I said
There was that one point, I don't know if you'll get into here, where he said, oh, don't worry, the big three will pay for it.
Well, so that is something that I do have. So, yeah, I have it.
But that does not include PC or, other platforms.
Well, so it's not the big three necessarily.
Okay.
But again, we will get into that. Many were inside of Unity are upset. George Broussard, he tweeted out, heard from inside Unity that the blog post was reviewed for weeks and internal concerns about poor/confusing messaging, Game Pass, etc. were all ignored. It's resignation time for some folks in the company. Hopefully we'll see a walk back, but I fear for Unity. Another tip from inside Unity, George goes on to follow up. Demos count as installs, so all those Steam Fest demos doing big numbers get ready to pay per install. Or leave your demo up all year to convert people to buying your game. One sale of $10 equals 66 demo installs. Good luck. Non-starter for you.
I didn't know. That's
again, just really rough. It's just terrible. It's not good. Other information was so as you said, Unity said to Stephen Totilo, who I believe is from Axios. Yeah, Axios. He said he got from Unity that Xbox is going to pay for installations made via Game Pass. Which, like, oh, you sure about that? You sure that Xbox is going to go along with that?
I thought he also said like Nintendo will also pay as well.
I personally didn't see that quote.
Okay.
I'm not saying that it wasn't said. I never came across it over the week when I was looking for stuff. Many devs have announced their plans to quit Unity, and Unity execs. We already talked about that part. Yeah, man, it's a bad look. It's a really bad look for them. So bad. And so I want to get out in front of this and say that like John Riccitiello, in my opinion, and this is based just strictly off how he runs his business. The the monetization quote from a few years back and charging the developers. I'm strictly talking about that stuff. The dude is an absolute piece of.
Wasn't he before he the CEO of Unity? He was
EA,
of EA,
and that's when he said that. Yeah,
Yeah.
he said those stuff. But I'm not going to condone what we're about to talk about. So Unity had to close their offices following the announcement this past week due to what the company calls credible death threats. They had to close several of their U.S. offices due to the potential threat, a Unity spokesperson confirmed to Polygon. Bloomberg report said offices in Austin, Texas and San Francisco were closed, just as Unity CEO John Riccitiello was scheduled to address staff at a company-wide meeting due to what was described as a credible death threat. San Francisco police told Polygon that the person who reported the threat to police said an employee made a threat towards the employer using social media. The aforementioned employee reportedly works at an out-of-state office. Police advised Unity to contact the out-of-state jurisdiction before taking a courtesy report, San Francisco Public Information Officer Catherine Winters said. Today we've been made aware of a potential threat to some of our offices, Unity spokesperson said in a statement. We've taken immediate and proactive measures to ensure the safety of our employees, which is our top priority. We are closing our offices for today and tomorrow, which I believe that was Wednesday, Thursday last week, that could be potential targets for this threat, and are fully cooperating with law enforcement on the investigation. Just an update, San Francisco police told Polygon that officers responded to Unity's San Francisco office regarding a threats incident. A reporting party told police that an employee made a threat towards his employer using social media. The employee that made the threat works in an office outside of California, according to the statement. Don't make death threats.
Yeah.
I mean, again, this is clearly someone whose professional life was affected here, so like, you don't know what the person's dealing with. But at the end of the day, like, don't make
It's
that's a step too far. I mean,
death threats in general should be made.
that's
but
what I'm
also,
saying.
The people they're threatening had nothing to do with this. You know what I mean? Like the people in those offices, it wasn't their decision. None of this was their decision.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if the threat wasn't made towards anyone in the office other than the CEO and the higher ups. But, you know, as a company, you have to take the threats to the company in general seriously. I mean, I don't know. I don't know exactly what was said, but death threats are whack. Don't do.
And it also sucks. Like, I hope that you have more in Unity.
I do, but we can keep going.
I was just saying, I hope that like, I don't want Unity to die. It's still like an amazing tool for gaming in general. I hope they pivot. I hope it's, maybe the CEO gets fired or something. But to throw all of that in the trash and get rid of Unity is like heartbreaking. You know what I mean? As an engine, it serves so many people. It's number one for a reason. We're in the top 5 for a reason.
Well, I wish I could tell you that it was going to get much better, but we do have more on Unity. Some of it which came out like a couple hours ago.
Yeah, no.
So Unity yesterday, they made, and again, I just keep seeing like the BP "We're sorry" from South Park thing. So Unity put this statement: "We have heard you. We apologize for the confusion and angst the runtime fee policy we announced on Tuesday caused. We are listening, talking to our team members, community, customers, and partners, and we'll be making changes to the policy. We will share an update in a couple of days. Thank you for your honest and critical feedback." Note that changes.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting rid of this policy.
Yeah.
Changes to the policy. Now people were just like, a lot of big names in the games industry were kind of stepping up here. Like we saw like Jeff Keighley, like, let's see the changes. You know, a lot of people with some weight to them are just like, okay, well, what are you going to do? Well, it leaked about 2 hours ago, actually. Their new plan.
Know that.
Yes. Unity's changes, again, this is great. One of the few instances where it's great that we kind of do a weekly recap show, where it's like we have this whole story for everybody here now. Unity's changes to the price hike plans have been leaked. Again, this broke today via, I believe it was originally Bloomberg. Yeah, it was Bloomberg. But this is Insider Game. It's been a week since Unity announced changes to its pricing structure and general price hike. These changes included charging developers for game installations after meeting a certain revenue threshold. According to Bloomberg's Jason Schreier, the company will be announcing changes to the controversial plan. These new changes, the report says, will limit fees to 4% of a game's revenue for customers making over $1 million. In addition to the 4% fee, installations counted towards the threshold will no longer be retroactive, nor will they be tracked by a proprietary tool. Instead, Unity will rely on developers to self-report the data. In an all-hands-on-deck meeting on Monday, so today, Unity CEO John Riccitiello said that he didn't believe the backlash would have been different had the changes announced been different at the time. He goes on to quote, "I don't think there's any version that would have gone down a whole lot differently than what happened," Riccitiello reportedly said. "It is a massively transformational change in our business." He did, however, acknowledge the fact that the company should have been better with how the news was delivered. I think we could have been a lot better. We could have done a lot of things a lot better, he said. As far as when these updates to the policy will be announced, the company is reportedly waiting until partners are brought up to speed on what Unity has planned. Insider Gaming has reached out to Unity for comment on the reported changes. This all-hands meeting was originally scheduled for last week, but was rescheduled because of the death threat. I would just get rid
So that's actually on par with where so Unreal charges you 5% once you hit $1 million.
Okay.
And people are okay with that. So I think that's more on par with what people are used to, or what they want to see. When you make $1 million, 4% goes to the game engine, and I think that feels way more fair.
But this is just another break for the large company. Like, I don't know if you guys saw the actual model. So it's only 20 cents per install for games that have just made $200,000. When you pass making $1 million, it's only 2 cents per install. So the bigger, larger game companies that are guaranteed these installs are getting their cost reduced to pennies. And the smaller studios are still having to pay 20 cents. That's insane.
I think they backtracked the whole per install thing. It's not 20 cents per install anymore. It's just that now when you make $1 million, 4% of your revenue goes to them.
See, my thing kind of comes off of, and it's really similar to how I felt about the PlayStation Plus pricing. Obviously, these are two very different things. But my thing is like, well, what are you offering your customers? If you're going to change how you charge them, you're going to change the amount that you're going to be charging them, what are you doing for your customer base to make it justifiable? If you're going to do something, like, things cost money, and we get that. But
I don't know
the perception of this, because again, perception is everything. I say it all the time on the podcast. Perception is everything. And if you're telling me that Unity just woke up last week, John Riccitiello was like, you know what?
No, it's definitely greed.
Like, you're not doing anything for your developers.
I don't know what their pricing was beforehand. It wasn't.
Admittedly, I don't know either.
Yeah,
but it clearly wasn't what it is now because the developers are not happy.
Yeah. Well, 4% after $1 million seems fair now. I think people will start to things will cool down if they keep it that way. I don't know what they're saying about people reporting numbers.
So this is and this last report was brand new. It was 6 o'clock. I don't really
have to wait to see how people react to this new change. But I think this change will calm people down. This is more on par where everything else is.
Yeah, I'll try to look into it over the week and see if we have an update.
Well, you're definitely going to hear stuff about it.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. So that's everything going on with Unity right now. Let's move on to number 2 of the headlines.
One plus side, though, is that if people do move to Unreal, games are going to start looking a lot prettier. Unreal's the best looking.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I don't know how easy or difficult it is to switch like that, but...
Speaking of things that are unreal, number 2 in the headlines. So, would you believe that Square Enix has lost nearly $2 billion in market value since June, when Final Fantasy 16 released?
That's crazy.
Isn't it? This following comes from Video Game Chronicles. The Japanese publisher's share price reached its highest point this year in the days running up to Final Fantasy 16's release in June, but it closed on last Wednesday at its lowest level since May of 2022. The slump comes after sales of PS5 game reportedly failed to meet the high end of the company's expectations. But it also follows disappointing performance of other big budget releases like 2020's live service flop, Marvel's Avengers, support for which will end this month. By the way, you can buy it for $4 right now before it gets shut down. The campaign's really good. That first 8 hours, I think it's definitely worth $4. I'm being serious. That first 8 hours was really fun. So if you have $4, download it, play it. It's good. Just everything after that, terrible.
Save your $4.
No, it was a good first 8 hours. I'm just saying.
Save your
$4. Anyways.
exactly. Save it.
In a Bloomberg article analyzing Square Enix's recent downturn, anonymous employees and contractors claim the company is suffering from issues with its game development structure and quality control, while analysts expressed concerns about its long-term prospects. Quote, flooding the market with unfinished, bad, or untested games is a bad move, Tokyo-based game developer and gamer Michael Prefontaine said, referencing Marvel's Avengers, Forspoken, and the Dio Field Chronicle. It's weird, because I didn't hear the Dio Field Chronicle was that bad. I heard it was okay, but still. The company has overstretched itself on too many titles without proper oversight. Current and former Square Enix employees reportedly claimed one of the causes of such issues is Square Enix's decision to give individual producers too much control over the scope and direction of their project. They also said games have suffered from inadequate documentation and team structure. We remain concerned with the company's game development structure and game quality control, which could limit the longer-term performance, said Macquarie Capital Securities Japan analyst Yuja Zai. Earlier this month, Square Enix announced that PC version of Final Fantasy XVI is in development, in addition to 2 pieces of paid deals. So here's the thing, right? We're going to talk about the PlayStation State of Play. And there are 2 Square Enix games there that I want to point out. So let's remember this headline when we get there.
Okay.
I think Square Enix just needs to do what it does best, what it's known for.
Yeah.
Like, here's the thing, like I'll even just say one of the games right now. You know what? Screw it. I'm going to say it now, just because it's relevant. So, like, when I was watching the State of Play and the Nintendo Direct last week, I saw 2 things from Square Enix that have me so excited, like, unbelievably excited. Those 2 things being Super Mario RPG and Final Fantasy VII. And I'm so unbelievably excited, because they really kind of... Obviously, Final Fantasy VII Remake does technically stray a little bit away from the RPG mechanics. It's still more of an RPG than Final Fantasy XVI. But... like, these 2 games are just like, it's what Square Enix is known for. Make your great RPGs. But the thing is, you do.
So both of those games are remakes / remasters.
Sure, but my point is
I don't want them. Yeah.
Okay, Octopath Traveler 2.
Okay, yeah, great game. Yeah, and that's phenomenal. That's why I'm. Yes, $2 billion is a lot of money for us. I don't. I don't.
It's marketing. That's a lot for marketing.
It is a lot, but I think it's a scrape on the knee for them. They're fine. Like,
I don't think they're going under. But it
says a lot. Yeah,
it's a trend.
Like, I feel like the Marvel's game was chasing a trend. Like you said, they had good 8 hours, and then they stuffed stuff into it that didn't fit the game.
Right.
They chased a trend, and it failed. As we know, it's dying.
As live service games tend to do.
Yeah. Forspoken seemed really cool. It seemed like I feel like if there ever is a Forspoken 2, I think it'll be what people want it to be.
They closed the developer.
Okay. Yeah. So it's like, that sucks, because the game, I guess it was like I would say like 7 out of 10, like around that. Yeah. But everything, like the moving mechanics, the beauty of it looked cool. Again, Final Fantasy 16 looked really great. People are loving it, but I think they just have to stick with.
Final Fantasy 16.
I don't want to tell any developer to stick with anything, but I think they should definitely, reevaluate. Don't chase trends. Finish games more fully.
I get what you're saying, and I agree in some spaces, and I also don't want to tell a developer to stick to something. But it's like, at the end of the day, like, you kind of got to look at your legacy, because the flip side of this, and it's also kind of chasing trends, foam stars. When I see foam stars on the PlayStation State of Play, and I'm like again, I don't see bastards really just watched people play Splatoon for years, and we're like, let's do that.
Yeah, I don't see an issue with that, though.
It's not what Square Enix does.
No, but like,
well, I guess now it's
for example, all right. So Splatoon is the only one in the market right now that does what it does.
Okay, and
I don't think it's a bad thing that somebody else does it. Just because you do something first doesn't mean... Look at PUBG. PUBG was probably the biggest battle royale before everyone else got their hands on it, and Fortnite and Apex are the biggest thing right now. Right. So I don't think it's a bad thing to take a gaming mechanic that not a lot of people are doing, and especially if it's doing well. Splatoon is doing really well in Japan. Mm-hmm. So why not?
I get what you're saying.
Make the game good. That's the most important thing. Don't just copy it just to copy it. You know what I mean?
I mean, I think it's been a very interesting... One more thing before we move on. I think it's been a very interesting turn of events to see the quick turnaround. So Square Enix puts Final Fantasy 16 on PlayStation, right? So that happens. And then we hear all this stuff about it not meeting expectations, pre-orders, et cetera, et cetera. And then Xbox, Phil Spencer shows up on that Final Fantasy stage with the head of Final Fantasy, and they're like, Final Fantasy's coming to Xbox moving forward.
I think it has a lot to do with the new CEO.
Oh, I think so too. Yeah. I think he came in, he was like, let's stop putting out letters on New Year's Day about microtrans.
Let's get rid of exclusives. I hate exclusives. There shouldn't be exclusives anymore in gaming.
I wouldn't say that.
I mean, that's what he said.
I mean, yeah, he did say that. He did, in fact, say that.
Yeah, you know.
Anyways, so yeah, we'll have to see. Tokyo Game Show is in a couple days, so I'm holding out for something special. We'll talk about it. Moving on to the headline. EA has confirmed that The Sims 5 is going to be a free-to-download game. The next-gen Sims game, which officially codenamed Project Reen, was announced last October. EA said at the time that it would feature both solo and multiplayer gameplay, while offering the same experience across all supported devices, including mobile. The job advert briefly published online this summer described Project Reen as a free-to-enter game. And basically, they came out and said, Sims 5 is going to be free to play.
It makes sense for that game.
Yeah, it does make sense for The Sims. I mean, as many extensions and expansions
they support the game for like 10 plus years.
Yeah, it makes sense to just let people download it for free.
Yeah.
Let's move on though. There's a new PS5 update. It includes new accessibility, audio and social features, increased remote play support, and more. The update adds support for Dolby Atmos HDMI devices like soundbars, TVs, or home theater systems. This enables the console to pass the PS5's 3D audio feature to Atmos devices by rendering the 3D audio channels, including overhead ones, to Atmos speakers. It also adds the new accessibility features, including ability to assign a second controller as an assist controller to a single account. I like that, actually. It's like, if you have like someone who wants to play the game, but you kind of want to like step in, like, it says accessibility, but that could also be used for like siblings. I think that'd be cool.
About that, yeah.
It's like a little kid, like, let me play. Siblings, and he's just like, he's doing terrible, and you're just like, you're right behind him.
Yeah, you have the controller.
You're the one doing it.
Which I've done. I've given like my little cousin an unplugged
controller. Yeah, right. It's the same thing. Alongside these previously revealed features, several more have been announced. PlayStation Remote Play is now supported on devices running Android TV OS 12. Additional voice commands are also available in the US and UK. And then a bunch of little patches. But so, nice little PS5 update here. Some good stuff there. Check it out. Next up on the headlines, number 5. Game Pass Core launched last week, and we have the full official list of games. I think it's more than that. You count while I list
34?
Or maybe does the article actually say? 25.
25.
But they're thrilled to share that there will be, it'll be 36. Alright, let me run through the games real quick. Among Us, Astroneer, Celeste, Dead Cells, Senders, Dishonored 2, Doom, Eternal Standard Edition, Fable Anniversary, Fallout 4, Fallout 76, Firewatch, Forza Horizon 4, Gang Beasts, Gears 5, Golf with Your Friends, Grounded, Halo 5, Halo Wars 2, Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, Human Fall Flat, Inside, Limbo, Ori and the Will of the Wisp, Overcooked 2, Payday 2, Power Wash Simulator, Psychonauts 2, Slay the Spire, Spiritfarer Farewell Edition, Stardew Valley, State of Decay 2, Superliminal, The Elder Scrolls Online, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge, Unpacking, and Vampire Survivors. So looking at this list, and Xbox says that they're going to update this list 2 to 3 times a year. When I really was looking over this list, I was extremely impressed, and I really give them kudos. I think this is such a smart list in so many different ways. So obviously Game Pass Core is the cheapest option to get into Game Pass, right? Or into the Xbox ecosystem. Number 1, this is way better than games with gold. Anyone who's upset that Xbox Live Gold is gone, other than the name of it alone, like the name value, like I was a gold member for like 15 years. Like that, I understand. Everything else, you shouldn't be upset about it. This list of games is incredible. There's so many different variety and different ways that like they're slowly introducing you to the Xbox. A lot of first party games. A lot of stuff that like Gears 5. Like, oh, you'll play Gears 5, Gears 6 comes around. It's not going to be on this right away, but maybe you'll upgrade at that point. You know, a lot of their services, Fallout 76, Elder Scrolls Online, stuff like that is around. Then you have some of these indie games that you get on Game Pass, like Vampire Survivors, Limbo, Inside, just party games like Gang Beasts. I think I said was on there, or not Gang Beasts. Gang Beasts. Like, there's so many different experiences on here that like, if you're gonna update it like every 4 months, that's crazy. Like these games, you'll be busy playing these for more than 4 months.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, 34 games. I don't know anyone that plays 34 games. You know what I mean?
I do.
Vampire Survivors is a big deal.
It is, yeah. Again, it's just like, and like it. the list does a great job because it kind of gives you a taste of what the actual Game Pass is. Again, you get these first party games, they're a few years old, but like State of Decay 2, you play that, like State of Decay 3 is a few years out. It's coming though. It's like, oh man, maybe you'll really fall in love with the second one. You upgrade for that.
When I see Game Pass Core, I think of parent buying their kid Game Pass for like Christmas or whatever.
Yeah.
And they get them Core and like, here you go, kid.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a great way to get into the service, and I think it's great. So that's live now. I'm going to stick with my Game Pass Ultimate because all those games are there, plus more, including Starfield. Let's move on. The Immortals of Avium studio unfortunately laid off half of its staff this past week. It was one of the most highly anticipated games of this summer, with creator Ascendant Studios led by the former creative director of Dead Space and Call of Duty, and publisher EA calling it a groundbreaking first-person magic shooter. Unfortunately, Immortals of Avium was dead on arrival thanks to mediocre review from critics, with the Metacritic score sitting at just 65% on PC. The PC version received the most negative feedback due to the game being unoptimized, with Immortals of Avium peaking at just 751 concurrent players on Steam, which is almost unheard of for a AAA game. Despite Immortals of Avium not even being a month old at this point, the writing may be on the wall for the studio, as its CEO, Brett Robbins, announced the layoffs of nearly half its staff, which is close to 40 workers. According to the report, the poor sales were the reason for the layoffs. It is unclear whether this will mean the end of Ascendant Studios, as the game was supported by EA and released under its EA Originals program, which sees the publisher fund the development of the game. Immortals of Avium was released on August 22nd, 2023, and apparently it's going to make its way to Game Pass. Due to the game being published under the EA or Originals programs, it will make its way to EA Play and Xbox Game Pass. So, cool. I actually didn't think about that, but yeah, it'll be on Game Pass. Obviously, it sucked to see that, you hate to see people lose their jobs. I kind of wanted to get your take on this because Ty and I were actually in the Discord kind of going back and forth a little bit here. Do you think that there needs to be some sort of level of, how do I want to word this question? Like, a level of patience, especially if you have funding from a bigger publisher. And I'm not talking about indie developers flopping. Like, it happens, and it costs a lot of money to make games. But a lot of these AAA publishers who are putting out these AAA games, usually when a game doesn't meet expectations, they start laying people off. And I think my question is, do you think that AAA publisher is justified in laying people off after one flop? Or do you think they should kind of like hold on to your employees and say like, okay, well, obviously this can't continue, but give them another chance at making another game. You know what I mean? Like, do you think it's right for a publisher to cut its losses if a game isn't a critical success?
I don't know. That's difficult. I think maybe smaller studio. EA is not hurting for money.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not talking about indie developers. I understand an indie developer doesn't, like, they put a lot of money in their game and it flops.
Yeah.
That's really shitty. It's a shitty situation.
Yeah.
But if EA is funding a game and EA is like, all right, we're going to work with you, this studio, and the game doesn't do super well, like, you fire 40 people, or do you just say like, all right, well, you didn't get it this time, but next time you got to do better.
People are playing the game.
Right.
You can make changes to the game over time. I don't know. I don't know. I think you should stick with it. That's me personally. I'm sure there's talks in it, and I know money's the reason for everything in this kind of situation, which sucks.
Well,
but
maybe, just maybe, they're being replaced with AI.
Deborah, what if they are?
No, I don't think you do that.
God.
Again, neither of you have listened to me when I talked, but that's okay.
We listened too much. That was the problem. We let you go on for too long.
You old men are yelling at the clouds, and I'm trying to be like, old men, calm down. All right?
I'm not yelling at the clouds. I'm just saying don't fire people.
Though.
I just don't want to see hardworking human beings lose their jobs. That's all. That's all I'm saying. I'm not yelling at clouds.
Again, AI is just a tool. A hammer can't build a house by itself. AI can't make a game by itself. But go ahead.
Not yet.
It can if you build him a robot that can use a hammer.
There you go.
You still got to build a robot, and you got to maintenance the robot.
What if you build a robot to maintenance the robot?
You still got to build that robot.
That's the snowball effect, man. It's gonna happen.
Again, you're gonna have robots fixing each other.
This isn't AI that's taking over the world. This is generative AI. Okay, we're not even close to Terminator, Skynet. We're not even close.
This is the first step.
Have you not seen Boston Dynamics? We are closer to Terminator than you think.
What?
You guys in your tinfoil hat.
I'm just stating that I don't want people to lose their jobs. Hold on, that's not a tinfoil hat. Anyways, let's
Yeah,
let's talk about Starfield.
Why do you hate technology?
I am in love with Starfield. Like Starfield has really picked up for me. We talked about it last week, and I was saying like it was kind of in the 8 range for me. We're in the 9 range. The amount of stuff in this game, and just like I'm spending more time with the story. I just had a major plot. Again, I'm not going to spoil anything. I just like last night had a major plot thing happen that kind of like opened up the story and like put a really awesome twist in. I mean, obviously I'm still early. Barring some sort of BS stupid thing at the end, this is the best main story that Bethesda's ever done, in my opinion. I think this game is absolutely phenomenal. Just want to take a few seconds to talk about that. I learned that you can lean when you're in cover today. That was crazy. Again, my big issue with the game is like it doesn't teach you a lot of stuff, but man, as you go and you learn, it's but Starfield is on its own doing very, very well. Let me go with the first headline I have for this. It is the 5th fastest selling game in Europe this year. According to VGC, according to the VGC, who says according to GSD, published on gamesindustry.biz, which also reports that the game is just about the biggest Xbox launch this generation across Europe, ahead of Forza Horizon 5. In terms of launch week sales, Starfield's performance has only been bettered by Hogwarts Legacy, Diablo 4, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor. Which, that's a great list of games if you're thinking about it. I mean, all with like IPs and franchises that are established, so these games are all guaranteed very well. So for a new IP to kind of come out, that's definitely worth recognizing.
Yeah. The only new IP on the list. Second.
And the other thing,
first game in the series.
The other crazy thing is that this number, this data, does not take into account the number of people who have played Starfield via game. So that means like that's a really interesting thought, to look at. Like obviously Game Pass is there, but so many people have bought the game and not gone through Game Pass that on its own merits, without Game Pass, it's a hit. And I think that that's a testament to the ecosystem and just how well it works. It's like you go on, you get it on Game Pass, and if you like the game, people are buying these games, and it's really fascinating to see. Also, we have updates and details about the first update for Starfield and upcoming features. The first update includes performance and stability improvements, as well as several quest fixes. We're not going to go through the entire patch notes, but Bethesda plans to deliver regular updates, introducing top community requested features, including brightness and contrast controls, HDR calibration menu, an FOV slider, NVIDIA DLSS support for PC, 32:9 ultra-wide monitor support for PC, and an eat button for food. Which I, for one, support the eat button. That's a big get, right? Believe it or not. So they also say that built-in mod support is something they're working on via creations. It'll work across all platforms, similar to what Bethesda has done with Skyrim and Fallout 4. The full support is planned to launch early next year. A lot of exciting stuff coming to Starfield. A lot of fixes, bug fixes. Again, there's a whole patch notes. You can go check it out. Just good stuff. Fixes, stability stuff. Love to see it. We'll talk more about Starfield next week as I continue to play it and continue to further fall in love with it. Speaking of Game Pass, it was revealed this past week that Xbox Game Pass has over 30 million subscribers. This came from a LinkedIn page of Craig McNary, Director of Global Brand and Integrated Marketing at Xbox. So 30 million, well over 30 million. So that's a good number for them. Next up in the headlines, Horizon Forbidden West is rumored to be coming to PC. One of the best PlayStation's exclusives is set to come to PC, as a new rumor claims that Horizon Forbidden West, the Complete Edition, will be released on PC. According to reputable leaker Bill Kunn, the game is expected to include both the base title and its Burning Shores DLC. According to our latest information, the PlayStation exclusive will be released on PC as none other than Horizon Forbidden West Complete Edition. This game will be available as usual on Steam and Epic Games. So, great. It's great to see those PlayStation games come to PC for the PC.
We're going to hear when the game comes out how horrible it is on PC.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Week or two.
It's going to sell really well, though.
Yeah. Always happens.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be Bill Kun, by the way. You know, the Japanese thing.
Oh, duh. Sorry. That's what happens when you're reading.
Yeah, I know.
I don't know why I did it that way. Not bad. Anyways. RuneScape developer, Jagex, may be for sale. Another day, another report of development studio possibly being for sale. Financial Times is reporting that global investment firm Carlyle is weighing its options for RuneScape developer Jagex, including a sale. According to a follow-up report from Reuters, the developer is valued as high as $1.25 billion. I was surprised that they were actually valued that high in 2023. Love RuneScape. I'm a big RuneScape fan.
Now, buying a developer, do you get the IP that comes with them?
I believe so.
Because that's a big IP, I think. I don't know why. I feel like that fits with Xbox. RuneScape. You know,
I was actually thinking the same thing. Like, obviously, like, you would have to kind of look and see at, like, the portfolio, but I think RuneScape would definitely fit for a PC Game Pass. That would be a huge get if RuneScape was part of PC Game Pass.
I don't think it'll be as big as Genshin, but I think it's, you support it.
It doesn't need to be as big as Genshin.
It can still be. I mean, like, you do want a big MMO type game on your thing if everyone else has one. So I just feel like.
Well, the only thought process
is
a big get. I think. They do have Elder Scrolls Online as well.
That's true, they do.
But again, when they announced someone could possibly buy it, I thought RuneScape to Xbox, like PC, it makes a lot of sense.
Makes sense,
It makes a lot of sense. So I would definitely jump back into RuneScape. I haven't played RuneScape in probably like 15 years.
But
I would.
Anyone who
just for the nostalgia of getting back into that world with those retro graphics.
It's so different. You know what I mean?
I know, but I don't know. I think I would jump back. So next up, games coming to the iPhone 15 Pro. The iPhone 15 Pro was shown off last week, and it's going to support games. iPhone 15 and 15 Pro were announced during an Apple event on Tuesday. Capcom's Resident Evil 4 Remake and Resident Evil Village will be coming to the Pro device later this year. Assassin's Creed Mirage, which is coming out next month, is headed to the iPhone 15 Pro in early 2024, as is the Ubisoft game The Division Resurgence. iPhone 15 Pro gets a major performance upgrade with the A17 Pro chip, Apple claimed. With a new 6-core GPU and a faster neural engine, it becomes a ridiculously powerful mobile gaming machine, enabling higher quality graphics and rich immersive game worlds never seen on a smartphone before. What are your thoughts?
This is genius by Apple because it can essentially become a console. It can join the console ecosystem because of how powerful the iPhone 15 is.
For sure.
It's insane how, like, it's a really powerful phone and it's only going to get better. And Android isn't there yet, but it's going to catch up really quickly. It's like we're going to have consoles in our pockets.
I mean,
you have that backbone controller now. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah.
I think it's genius to do it.
Not to point it out, but people gave Phil Spencer a hard time. But if you recall, it wasn't too long ago when Phil Spencer was talking about who Microsoft considers competition in the gaming sphere.
They did say that.
It was not PlayStation. It was not Nintendo. Mm-hmm. It was Google and Apple. Those are the people that Microsoft looks at as a threat in terms of gaming competition.
Yeah, no, I think it's really smart on Apple's part.
Yeah. So we'll have to see how that goes. I'm not an iPhone user, so I know I won't be using it, but, better games in more places is not a bad thing. Speaking of games being in more places, Starfield, and I guess I should have included this Starfield, but it was more about the Xbox Series consoles. It drove the 2 best sales weeks for the Xbox Series X and S this year in the UK. Sales of Microsoft's console were up 76% week on week for the 7 days ended on September 2nd, according to data from the market research from GfK, which was published on gamesindustry.biz. Bethesda's sci-fi RPG was released on September 6th, but you already know that. Starfield's incredible, and it sold a lot of systems, it seems. I would love to know the US number, but for now, we just have you. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Once again, the Sony money has cleared. No, so it's a PlayStation 5 exclusive for at least 3 months. The publisher announced on Thursday that the second part in its Final Fantasy VII Remake trilogy will be released on February 29th, 2024 on 2 discs, which we'll talk about later. The release date announcement trailer also confirmed the game will not be available in other formats until May 29th, 2024 at least. Final Fantasy VII Remake was released for PS4 in April 2020. The upgraded integrated version came out in June 2021. And then it hit PC 6 months later. So, yeah, it's a 3-month minimum. I'm hopeful. Devroro, I'm really hopeful for Tokyo Game. Okay. And maybe I'm setting high expectations. But
yeah, don't set them too high.
I would really love for Final Fantasy VII Remake, the first one, to get announced for Xbox at Tokyo Game. I think it would align with the partnership that Xbox and Square Enix seem to have now. And I'm hopeful. And I would really love to see that happen. And maybe 3 months down the line, Rebirth comes to Xbox in May or June.
I have a feeling like...
I think the stars are aligning for it to be a possibility.
Well, maybe, but I have a feeling that Sony's going to buy Square Enix pretty soon.
You said Sony?
Yeah.
Maybe. During a subsequent interview with IGN, Xbox boss Phil Spencer wouldn't be drawn on whether other PlayStation exclusives like Final Fantasy VII Remake or 16 will come to Xbox, but said the Japanese publisher's commitment to Microsoft consoles was really important. Take that for what you will. Ty is here. Square is changing its strategy, but if this 3-month exclusive is a PC thing, then it doesn't really... Fair. Next up in the headlines. Ubisoft Montreal dealing with some issues right now. On September 11th, most of the over 4,000 employees at Ubisoft Montreal returned to office in Montreal's Mile End for the first time in 3 years. But hardly anyone seems happy about it, and many are furious at what they're calling broken promises from Ubisoft leadership. Since Ubisoft Montreal announced that employees would be returning to the office beginning in September, the studio's intranet has been lighting up with posts ranging from mild concern to outright anger. IGN has viewed a number of comments on the situation across multiple Ubisoft internal postings, including over 270 comments on the announcement post alone, almost all of which are negative. Many of the comments list the numerous issues employees have historically had working from the office before as reasons not to return. Noisy calls in open offices, increased expenses, and a lack of sufficient equipment or accommodation. But the anger also runs deeper than the inherent problems with the returning to the office. Amid a wider company culture of layoffs, game cancellations, and abuse allegations, this mandated office return seems like the final straw for a number of employees who feel that Ubisoft's management indifference to its workers had gone on long enough. So a big thing, I'm obviously, this is more of an expose kind of thing, so I'm not going to go through the whole article, but I did kind of read through it. And a big thing that I was reading was that they kind of made it seem for a lot of the developers that a return to the workplace was not going to happen. So many of them like moved away. Some of them sold their cars because it just wasn't. They didn't need a car if they didn't have to go to work because everything else was close to them. So a lot of people were actually pretty badly affected by the requirement to return to the office.
It's one of these. So we talked about this a long time ago, back when I first started the podcast. Something similar to this.
Yeah. I think it was this. I think it was the initial announcement.
Yeah, and it felt like, again, I'm not a game developer or anything like that, but it feels like it's very hard to get a game going the way you want it to as a studio if everyone's working from home. I think the office space, like, I don't think everything needs an office space. And I feel like everyone who works there doesn't need it. But I think if you're putting together a game with one vision, you kind of like, I don't know, you kind of need to be in the same room together. Again, I don't think everyone does. I know Ubisoft there's a lot more, like they mentioned all the other stuff, game cancellations, use that's going on with all that. There's a lot of stuff that like,
for sure.
It's a way bigger issue than just coming in to work.
Yeah.
But I do feel like if I'm putting together anything, I kind of need people. You know what I mean?
I do. So I kind of take a neutral stance on this where like I see both sides of it and I think both sides have great points. I do think that bringing people together in an office, not because it's an office, but just bringing people together in the same room and getting that creativity.
Just the communication is easier to like get your thoughts out to.
Yeah, because Zoom can only do so much for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Stuff like that. I don't know. For me, it's like I see both sides.
I also know personally 3 people that work from home, and they're all half-assing their job, and they admit to it. Like it's not like they're hiding it or anything.
For sure.
I'm not saying these developers are half-assing it, but I just feel like
there's more opportunities to do that. Yeah. Yeah. Well, so just wanted to share that Ubisoft.
Also, think that it's going to be at home forever. I mean, it's more on Ubisoft's part for not saying, "Hey, this is kind of temporary."
Yeah, they should not have said that to their employees.
Yeah.
I do hold them for that. It's like you should have told your employees, like, "Hey, like when
this
the pandemic, this is just for the pandemic. Like, don't sell your cars, don't move if you want to still work here. We understand if you quit and like move, do you? But
that's different. But that's not your problem. We're not your problem anymore.
Right.
I also feel like you shouldn't. Anyone who, I don't know, it's kind of naive to be like, "Hey, we're working from home forever."
So Ty also brings this up, and I think this is really good. I don't know if this would work for those people that moved or those people that sold their cars, but he says the hybrid model is the best. Let them have the benefits of working from home and going to work.
I think hybrid across the board is probably the best.
I agree with that. I think, have like 2 in-office days and 3, like, have those 2 in-office days be like the collaboration day where like everyone gets their assignments and then you go for 3 days and you do your stuff.
Give them a list of things they have to finish.
Yeah.
Go home and finish.
I would have it like work from home Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, be in the office Monday and Friday.
I think for most jobs where you can work from home, I think hybrid is probably the best.
Yeah.
Because like I said, of those 3 people that I know, 2 of them kind of hate working from home. They kind of miss that feel of being with a group. You know what I mean? So it's like
you get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, you get the best of both worlds.
So real quick, my company actually went through all this, and the entire time that we've all been working at home, they've been sending us emails saying, expect to do hybrid soon. Expect to do hybrid soon.
Yeah,
so
like,
we had plenty of notice that don't sell your car, don't move, you know what I mean? Like, we had notice. So that's Ubisoft's bad.
Yeah, don't sell your car, don't move out of the state. Well, I guess Canada, they're more territories. They're not called states.
And to be honest and finish the story, they sold our office finally, and they said, okay, now you don't have to worry about it. Now you're permanently from home.
There you go.
That's funny.
All
right. Let's move on. We are getting a little up in the time, so we're going to zoom through these last few headlines so we can get to the topic of our show. According to the FTC documents, Activision, FTC, Xbox, all that stuff, a lot of the emails are starting to be released by the FTC based off how these things go.
I saw a few of them.
Yeah, so according to a Microsoft doc from the court, Elder Scrolls 6 is currently planned, and this could change, but it is currently planned for a 2026 or later release, and it only is coming to Xbox and PC. Not surprising.
That's not surprising.
It's not surprising at all.
It's going to happen. I think.
I love this little chart that they made for the court, by the way, where it's like, is this, like, what's it coming to? Is it a multiplayer? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just love the way that they made this.
They kind of have to dumb it down for some of those.
They're like, not Starfield. Starfield is just completely nuts.
Yeah.
But, so, big surprise, Elder Scrolls 6. It's going to be...
That's cool.
Another thing that came out today via emails is that Microsoft is planning to stream PC cloud games. This is via internal emails. And then the last thing that I found that came out, I don't know if this came out at the actual trial, but this was like one of the last things that came out before I
saw this today,
finalized the script, was that Activision was officially briefed on the Nintendo Switch, the Super Switch.
We're calling it.
Yeah, as I'm calling my shot. It's going to be the Super Switch.
We got to trademark it before.
Yeah, we got to get ahead of Nintendo so that way they have to pay us for the right. I'll absolutely pay. Look, I'm for sale.
Yeah.
I can't say enough. I know, Devroro, you get the Sony checks.
I wish.
If PlayStation wants to pay me, or any of these companies want to pay me, I am for sale. I need the money. I really need the money.
I will bet you money that it's already taken. They already have that.
It probably is. But anyways, this was during the legal battle with the FTC. Activision CEO Bobby Kotick met with Nintendo executives, including Nintendo President Shuntaro Furukawa, to discuss the Switch's successor on December 15th of last year. So that's an interesting little.
Did we talk about last week? People at Gamescom.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah. They were showing it behind closed doors. Yeah, man. Super Switch. Activision knows about it. A very interesting wrinkle that if Microsoft were to close the deal, they will know about everything about the Super Switch before it's officially revealed.
I mean, you kind of want your big publishers and stuff to know about the console.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, no, it's an interesting turn of events.
Yeah.
Though.
I'm sure Activision isn't the only.
Ty says, hot take, if Elder Scrolls was coming to PlayStation, it would be a slap in the face. You would be signaling to your fans Xbox is not the best or first place to play quality. I agree. No, I
don't know if it would be a slap in the face only because it's a huge existing IP. That's the only reason I feel like.
Look, man,
it wouldn't be a slap in the face.
I think there's a difference in what they should and shouldn't bring. like I think as far as Bethesda goes, and I've said this, it's like if you're making new games, even if it's existing IP, it should be exclusive to Xbox. Like that's
I guess yeah, because Xbox is trying to build its brand. Right now, it's like third place or whatever.
yeah. I mean, like it makes sense. Like when they say legacy titles, they're referring to like Elder Scrolls Online, Fallout 76. Like those are the things that you're and older titles that were already on PlayStation consoles. Like maybe a couple years from now they put out like a Doom 1 and Doom 1 and Doom Eternal pack like they've been doing these. But like you're not going to see the next Doom game on PlayStation. At least I don't think so. Nor should you. You spent the money. You're trying to make your customers happy.
I guess so.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I wouldn't be. I don't know. It's one of those weird things where I wouldn't be offended by it. Like I don't.
Right. Well, that's it for the headlines. Let's dive into the game releases for this week, September 18th. Coming out first, Gloomhaven. This is a tactical game. The game actually looks pretty good when I was looking it up. Comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch today for $40. Lies of P, doing very well. It's the Pinocchio Souls-like game. Comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, PC, and Mac tomorrow with a price tag of $60, or it's on Game Pass. And Xbox actually put the game out today. So it dropped around 2 p.m. So you can go and play it on Game Pass right now, even though it comes out tomorrow. Also, I guess I was making this list and I was like, man, it's actually a pretty good week. Mortal Kombat 1 comes out tomorrow as well. Or no, wait. Yeah, tomorrow, sorry. For PS5, Xbox Series, Switch, and PC, with a price tag of $70. Apparently the Switch version is ugly.
Oh, really? I'm not surprised.
Well, you shouldn't be surprised. It's not surprising at all. I'll give them credit that they brought the game to all three consoles. I will give them on the same day. That doesn't happen. Devroro, you suck at parking.
Pretty good.
No, I'm talking about the game. Yeah. Comes out PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, and Switch tomorrow for $20. Party Animals comes out on Xbox Series, Xbox One, and PC for $20. It's also on Game Pass. Big Game Pass. Days of Doom comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, Xbox One, Switch, and PC on September 21st for $30. Payday 3 comes out on PS5, Xbox Series, and PC on September 21st for $40. It is also a Game Pass title. And then also announced at the State of Play, the Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC coming to PS5, Xbox Series, PS4, and PC with a price tag of $9.99. Just wanted to run through this real quick. Capcom's Resident Evil 4 remake cut memorable moments and bosses from the original game, but it appears this week's expansion, Separate Ways, will bring some of them back. A new launch trailer for the Separate Ways DLC shows protagonist Ada Wong will do what Leon S. Kennedy didn't in the RE4 remake, including dodging a hallway full of deadly security lasers and slaying bad guys on a cable car ride. Separate Ways also appears to be changing a few things up narratively. The trailer strongly hints Ada will be infected by the Plaga. Ada will also battle Ramon Salazar's second Verdugo, which appears to be stalking her throughout the DLC. There's just other little things teased. This looks great. On a gameplay front, Ada will make liberal use of her hook shot, not just to traverse like Spider-Man, but in battle. The Separate Ways launch trailer shows Ada using her grappling hook gun to snatch away a shield from a cultist and close the distance between her and Armadura for a stylish roundhouse kick. So I'm excited for this. I don't know if I'm going to have the time to go back in, but for $10, I'm going to probably try it.
What's your game of the week?
So I would say my game of the week is going to be the Resident Evil 4 Separate Ways DLC, especially for a $10 price tag. I mean, obviously, I would really love to get my hands on Mortal Kombat 1 or maybe Payday 3.
Yeah, mine was Mortal Kombat 1. This looks like a really fun fight.
I really enjoyed Resident Evil 4 Remake, so I mean, I would definitely not be opposed to
that makes sense.
More of that.
Yeah.
And Ty says there's a few good Game Pass games. This is the type of momentum you need after Starfield. I agree. I think this is a really strong week for Game Pass because obviously Starfield came out like 2 weeks ago at this point. So now you have Lies of P, big single player game. You have Party Animals, a big party game, and then you have Payday 3, a big multiplayer game. You're covering all your bases here on the first party front, or not first party. I'm sorry, the Game Pass front. That's a great week for Game Pass.
I think Payday 3 is probably the biggest one.
For Game Pass. Sure. I would agree with that. If you ask me to pick one, I'm not a big Souls guy. So like I would probably check out Lies of P. Lies of P being on Game Pass is the most likely I'll ever be to playing it.
That sounds like game.
Yeah, so like I might check it out if it comes up, but it depends on how long it's on Game. But that's the game releases for the week. Producer Jeff, do you have a pick for the week?
Lies of P, man, I was having a blast watching Doc play this game today. The graphics aren't the greatest. Like, so when I said it looks incredible, I didn't really mean graphics. I mean the world that they've created here. I absolutely love this world that they've made here.
Yeah, a lot of the trailers made it look like a very cool world. It's a really cool concept too. It's like, what if we tell Pinocchio, but as a soul?
Yeah.
Like, oh, okay, interesting.
It feels like the people who made this really liked Bloodborne as well. Like it feels like they played Bloodborne and they're like, we're not getting a Bloodborne 2, so let's make our own game.
Right.
The weapon system's incredible. Like you have a sword and you can add like the bottom of the sword, you can add a new guard to the sword and the handle. Like that's wild.
The hilt and the blade or whatever it is at top, and you can mix and match between all the other weapons, and like you get like buffs and like stuff like that based on what you have like as a blade and what you have as a hilt.
Yeah.
It's like that's really cool.
Nice. All right. Well, that's the game releases for the week. Go check that stuff out. Great games are coming out. The year 2023 just keeps on going. Great games every week, almost every week. But speaking of great games, let's get into our topic of the show, which is a Nintendo Direct review and a State of Play review. We're going to go through it, talk about whatever we want to talk about, and then we'll give some final grades for both showcases. So let's start off with this Nintendo Direct. Just gonna run through stuff. Stop me if you want to talk about it. I have some thoughts about some of them, but let me know. So we first saw the Splatoon 3 side order expansion coming out spring 2024. It seems like it's kind of like a roguelike, which I don't have a lot of interest in, so that was kind of like a skip for me. Next up, they showed Mario versus...
I think it's one of those things where if you like Splatoon and you get a new game mode that's like a roguelike-esque, I don't know, that sounds awesome. That sounds
really cool. If you're a Splatoon player, you probably love it. And side order...
I personally like roguelike games. Like, going in, fight till you die, upgrade, go back in,
I just don't like... I'm not a big fan of procedurally generated, and I know Starfield even kind of is a little bit procedurally generated. I just think that it kind of takes away a lot of the memorable, like, exploring locations.
It really doesn't.
For me, in my opinion, it's just an opinion.
It's for, like, it's built for, like, dungeons and stuff, and they still have all the key stuff, but it's like, if you die and go back in, it's not like, oh, I know I have to go through this hallway and everything. Everything's changed up just a tiny bit. So.
I get it.
Yeah.
It's just my opinion, Next up, we saw Mario versus Donkey Kong. This comes out February 16th, 2024. At the time, I wasn't sure if it's a remake. I do think it's a remake of the GBA game. It's priced at $40. So I'm pretty sure it's a remake of the original on the GBA. Which, admittedly, this announcement didn't really do anything for me because it's probably like my least favorite like Mario sub. You know what I mean? Like the Mario series, if that makes sense.
I guess. It looks like, at least in this remake, I don't know much about the original. This looks really good.
It definitely looks better than the original.
But like just the mechanics of it look really cool.
Yeah. I mean, again, there are some people that really like this game. I don't have like super strong opinions on it. It's just not something I care for. But, it's there. We'll see. Maybe I'll check it out. Actually, no. It comes out in February next year. I'm going to be playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth in February.
No, this looks cool, I think.
No, yeah, I mean, it looks decent. It didn't really do much for me, though, but it's okay. Next up, we saw Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown, coming out January 18th. I don't know. It's not where I want Prince of Persia to be. I think the game looks gorgeous. I'm sure for the genre it is. It looks great, but it's not the Prince of Persia game I want, so I don't really care. Horizon Chase 2 came out that day. It's a racing game. And I'm watching the Direct, right? And I'm like, how do these games keep being made? It's like it's a generic, and I don't want to sound mean.
I know what you mean.
It's a generic. It's generic racing game that shows up at Video Game Showcase. There was nothing that this game showed me that like stood out. Like when you talk about like great racing franchises that aren't like party racers, like okay, even including party racers, the three that come to mind for what they are Forza, Gran Turismo, and Mario Kart. And all of those are for different reasons. I mean, obviously Forza, depending on whether it's Horizon or Motorsport, like, and Gran Turismo, like those games are like simulation. I was gonna say very high quality games. Mario Kart's like a party game, but it's got like a lot of iconic stuff going on. I think
this fits in. And
this game is like a nothing.
No, this game is like an arcade. I think this is.
But like, how many games are like this? If I put up 6 games that are all like this game, you would look at them and be like, this is the same.
This doesn't look bad. I'm not gonna say it looks bad.
It doesn't look bad. It just like I don't know.
It's
Like,
fast paced.
It looks like it belongs on the boardwalk in an arcade.
Yeah. It feels like an arcade racer, which some people crave.
I just think they're a dime a dozen. I think that's my thing. My point is that they're a dime a dozen. What makes them stand out? I don't see what makes.
I agree that
I don't hate arcade racers. I'm just saying, like,
I agree that this doesn't really stand out.
It doesn't stand out at all. Even the name was kind of like Horizon Chase 2. I was like, wait, this is a second one? There's more?
Yeah.
Like, what? Again, I don't want to be super negative, but that was just my thoughts. Next up, we saw Super Crazy Rhythm Castle. I have nothing to say about this. It's just like, okay.
It's like a fun party game.
Yeah, it looks like a little party game. Next up, Spy X Anna Operation Memories for the fans of the anime. Again, I haven't. So.
Oh, so yeah, I watched Spy X Family.
That's what it's called, right? Yeah, Spy X Family.
Yeah, and it's great.
Again, I'm very behind on anime. So the mom and the dad are both spies, right? And that's the whole point of the show.
Yeah, so spoiler alert: the dad is a spy, the mom is a hitman.
Okay.
The dog is telepathic.
Oh, okay.
I don't know too much about the brother over here.
Okay, we could just keep going.
She's a psychic; she could read minds, and none of them know about none of them know about the other person's ability or lifestyle.
Okay, interesting.
It's actually really funny.
Pictures, and I guess they're gonna dive into like the spy stuff.
Yeah, well now they're making. Well, I think this game is gonna dive into just the everyday life of these characters. Which, if you like this show, I think.
But it looks like it's a photo taking game. Like it's called what Operation.
Yeah, you're playing as Anna clearly, and if you're a fan of the show, or the anime, I'm sure. Next up, we got Super Mario RPG. A look at the game. I think this game looks absolutely incredible. They went through some stuff in it. Action commands are in the game. A new triple move. You fill up a bar, and your party members will do like a joint attack. The post game has boss rematches. I'm so excited for this game. And at the time, in my life, I was like, this is a symbol of hope. Devroro. I watched this, and I'm like, this means that Nintendo hasn't forgotten. Nintendo knows the lineage, the history of the Mario RPG. And the fact they're willing to remake the first one gave me hope for the future. Little did I know, future was here. Future is now. We'll talk about that in a bit, though. But I think this game looks incredible. I can't wait to play it. Like, they've done an incredible job. I don't know if Square Enix did more of the heavy lifting here, or if Nintendo did. Whoever did, game looks great. I can't wait to play it on November 7th. Next up, we saw another Code Recollection. So some people that I watch on YouTube and stuff, they were pretty excited about this. But so apparently it's a remake of a DS title and a Wii game. The Wii game never came to the US, never came to North America. But so it's a collection of those two games coming out January 9th. Game looks interesting, but I've never played them.
It does look really interesting.
It does. Next up, we saw Princess Peach Showtime. This was our first look at it after the initial reveal at the June Direct. And I gotta say, I was very, in a good way, surprised by this game. I thought that when we first saw the Peach game, I was like, this is probably going to be like a basic platformer, not a lot going on. It's just probably like an end of Switch life cycle game that's going to come out. But what we got was a really awesome, it's called Princess Peach Showtime. Basically, Peach goes to a theater. The theater ends up having some issues with a villain. And so Peach goes into each theater, each play, and picks up an ability from that play. And I just, like, the ones that they showed, and they were like, there's a lot more in the game. Like, the Sword Fighter Peach was really cool. I loved the diversity of, like, oh, you go into another play, and you're a detective, and you have to solve clues, and it becomes a puzzle solver. And then you go into the fighting one, like, where you're a Kung Fu star, and Peach is, like, having, like, a legit, like, a 2D fighter, like, battle. And I'm like, there was a lot of cool stuff going on in this game. I'm actually really excited.
A lot of different game modes, like
variety, a lot of variety.
Yeah,
which I think
fun. It looks like it looks like a good game.
I think it looks really good, and I'm actually very excited.
It looks like they're using the art from the movie too.
Kinda, yeah. I can see that. But so yeah, that comes out March 22nd, 24. Next up, we saw Saga Emerald Beyond. Again, I thought it looked good. I don't have anything to say about it.
I don't know about it. Like, it looks.
Yeah, it looks. It looks interesting.
Like that kind of thing.
Yeah, which I do like that kind of game.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of them this year, so I'm thinking after this year I'm going to be really RPG'd out for a little while.
I've never heard of this one, so that's why it's like
I've heard of the Saga franchise, but I haven't heard of this game. I don't know enough about to have much of an opinion. Something I was very excited about.
This was actually very surprising.
I was very happy about this. So Tomb Raider 1 through 3 are getting a remaster. Now, it's funny because last week we talked about the brand name of Lara Croft. So this game's title is officially Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster starring Lara Croft. So it's like we talk about Lara Croft being like a well-known name. Like they literally put her billing in the game title to help people. I just thought that was worth it. But so this game looks really great. You can go back and forth between the old visuals and the new remastered visuals. Thought it was really cool. Comes with all the expansions from all 3 games and secret levels. It's also coming to Xbox and PlayStation, so I'll probably be picking it up on Xbox. This is something I'm definitely going to be getting though. As someone who really didn't spend a lot of time with the original trilogy of Tomb Raider, I'm very excited to get into this. Also, kudos to them for this game's release date, which is February 14th. Which is, I don't know if you know this, actually Lara Croft's birthday. So the game's coming out on the character's birthday.
Our games when we were kids looked like shit. Holy crap.
Yeah. It was also really hard for me as a kid. And I was just shooting tigers. And...
Some of the N64 games were really rough. Like,
yeah.
I played Turok a little bit as a kid, and like I know people love Turok, but I was always like...
Turok was...
Look at Doom 2. Doom on the 64 was...
I think I played on...
It was rough.
It was rough?
Trust me, it was rough. At least I remember it being rough. Very compressed. But at the time, it was actually a marvel that they got it on the N64. Next up, we got Detective Pikachu Returns. Comes out October 6th. I want to be excited for this, but after playing the first one, just kind of not. I love these experiences that take place in the Pokemon world. So I think the novelty of it is really cool. That being said, like, the first one was very easy. This is a puzzle game in the Pokemon world, so as you can imagine, it's probably...
They gotta make it easy for...
So I didn't read the previews, but the previews for this game came out, and they were like, yeah, this game...
Probably for a younger audience.
It is, which, you know, I understand. I would like for them to kind of find a middle ground, or... I played Pokemon Coliseum when I was a kid. I thought that was a pretty mature Pokemon. When I was a kid. We could do mature content. Just keep it... You can find a middle ground is what I'm saying. T for teen, Devroro. T for teen.
I agree with you. I just don't think the world agrees with you.
I know.
We got to get more and more G-rated.
As I'll say later, there's very little joy in the world. But we'll talk about that later. Next up, we saw Trombone Champ.
I cannot watch.
So here's the thing:
I would play this game and not laugh. This game looks so funny. I cannot hate this game at all. It just looks so funny.
So here's the thing, right?
I love everything about this.
Here's the thing about Trombone Champ. I would not spend $5.
Okay.
That being said, I want to play this game so badly.
I 100% agree.
They went out of their way, and so they add like motion controls to this game and everything. And it's like the intention is for it to be terrible. Yeah. Like you're not meant to play this game well. And so like they're playing.
I think you are meant to play it well, but you're just not. You know
it just doesn't sound well.
Yeah.
And so like I love in this, you'll see in the trailer like they're playing like an Italian song and they show spaghetti.
Yeah.
And then they add the 4 players and it's like all like, oh my god.
I absolutely love this.
I don't know how much this game costs. Can you look up how much this game costs? Because I would absolutely, maybe I would buy it for us to play it.
My favorite thing is the 8. You can play with 8 people, and it just sounds.
It's just oh my horrible. God. Yeah, how much is it? Look it up real quick. Because it came out. It came out that day.
Oh, I didn't know.
It's available now.
Okay,
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Jesus.
Looks so fun. Jeff, can you hear the music?
No, I did not include the music.
Okay, yeah, he can't play it because it is copyrighted.
Yeah, but when you get a chance, just listen to the gameplay.
It's Jeff, so like funny. After we're done, like just watch this one specific. It is hilarious.
It's hilarious. You can't hate the game.
No, you can't.
Every time I see it,
it makes you laugh. Look it up real quick. Next up was Battle Crush. I didn't write anything down for Battle Crush. After that was Contra Operation Galuga, which is a reimagining of the original Contra.
Right now, it's 10 out of 10.
Yes. How much does it cost on the Switch, though?
You missed War Tales.
Switch.
Try to find it on Switch.
I think it's gonna be probably the same price, $15.
Or War Tales. Oh, I forgot it. Oh, I missed War Tales
Yeah,
in my
so
notes. War Tales looked good too.
It's
I see
15.
It did. This game actually looks really cool. I like these RTS games.
Oh, me too. Yeah, I'm a big fan of that art style too. Next up we got crazy name for a crazy game, Unicorn Overlord. Love the name. The game looks good. I thought this looked like a fun game. Chance of me picking it up are kind of slim because of how many things are coming out right now, but I thought this game looked good. After that, we got more in Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, which is actually a name change because keep in mind the game was originally called Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon, but we did get a new name, so I guess that's going to be the new canonical name for it, which makes sense.
It was technically.
It was the second one. Yeah, I'm not mad about it. It's just
Yeah.
factually like it was fun. But the game looks good. It's releasing next summer, which I thought was crazy that this game is coming out so far down. Like, I don't know what time when Thousand Year Doors comes. It just says 2024. But like this has to be the last game to come out on the Switch, right? Right? Like summer 2024?
Yeah, that has to be. I agree.
That's crazy. And like why is it taking that long? Like this game has to be done.
I think when this game comes out, the Super Switch will already be out. I think
You think it's coming out before summer?
I think it's coming out like between spring and summer. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
I do.
All right.
You heard it here first.
You heard it here first. Next up, we got an announcement that I would love to say is really cool, but I know that I probably will never experience it. Is the Nintendo Museum in Japan. It's going to be opening next year. I'm sure this is going to be the coolest damn thing.
Really cool. Yeah.
Yeah. If I ever go to Japan, that's like destination number one.
Like,
yeah.
Building.
Yeah, it's really great. So I'm excited for that. After that, we got some Amiibo news. Zelda, Ganondorf from Tears of the Kingdom. Got those pre-ordered. Xenoblade Chronicles 3 Amiibo. I did not pre-order those.
Sora, did you pre-order that?
Sora's not available yet for pre-order. But it's the last one, Dev. It's the last one. And then all of them. An Odyssey. An Odyssey of 2014. What is it? 9 years. A 9-year Odyssey.
Yeah.
For me, a journey of collecting every Amiibo.
You got to show it off.
Oh yeah, no, there's going to be content. It's going to be a big. I've been waiting for it to finalize. We're getting closer to the day. But so yeah, I can't wait. That Sora Amiibo looks cool. Can't wait for it. It's gonna be. After that, we got a big announcement for F-Zero fans. F-Zero 99, a 99-player battle royal.
Oh my god!
In F-Zero.
Just what fans wanted.
Okay, so here's the thing. It shadow dropped. It came out that day. I've played about 4 hours. It's good. It's really good.
I believe it.
I enjoyed it. I didn't win. I didn't win. I finished the highest I finished out of the 99 was 25th.
This looks so fun.
Where I averaged was like the 50s.
Okay. No, I imagine
it is not an easy game.
It actually does look really fun. I just don't think this is what the fans wanted. You know, like
I think
it does look really fun. Don't get me wrong. It looks like a good game. I mean, Jeff, you're a big F-Zero fan. What do you think about it?
I want to play this so bad right now. It's not even funny. This looks amazing.
It's fun. It does look fun, yeah. Dude, it's fun. Like it's not easy, but it's fun. It's fun as hell. I had such a great time.
It seems really cool. Like you can use boost.
Oh.
You can boost, and it takes down your like shield or whatever.
Yeah, it just created a new track. What the hell? That was insane.
Well, so a lot of these are the older tracks from the original F-Zero. They just start on this weird part that doesn't exist.
No, like it's an ability. This car just created its own track and
Skyway.
Oh yeah,
the
so
Skyway.
Cool.
Yeah,
it gives you a huge boost.
Yeah, the Skyway is cool too. But you know what? It's still really balanced. Like if you play with your cards right, like the Skyway can help you. But I've had times where it didn't.
Can multiple people be on the Skyway at once?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a really cool game that I played. I can let you play a little bit before you leave if you try a game too. But I enjoyed it. I put Starfield down for like 4 or 5 hours on one of my days off on Thursday because I was off Thursday, and I played it. I mean, it's like level 7 or 8 or 9, I think, and I really enjoyed it. I wanted to support F-Zero as well because, like you said, some people aren't going to be happy about this, but my advice to them is download the fucking game and play it. If you want them to make an F-Zero game, download it, play it, show them that the numbers will do well, and they'll make a
It's still Nintendo.
No, here's the thing. Nintendo
show them that you want it, and we'll see. That's all you can do. Because
I get it, but Nintendo also they will put these things out to test the feelers. Like Origami King did well. Yeah, can't talk about it. soon, but not
That's
yet.
why you'll never see Fox.
God damn it! Yeah, we're never. It's gonna be kind of crazy, like at the end of it, like because this technically is a new F-Zero game. We're gonna get through the Switch generation, and every IP outside of Earthbound and Star Fox are gonna have entries on the Switch. Like every IP. Like I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong, but I think everybody has made an appearance, one way or another. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like Ice Climbers, but that's like yes. But I don't know. Anyways, let's move on.
Nintendo VR. That's
Yeah, I'd play it. I'd play it. Next up we saw Bandle Tale, and it's a League of Legends story. It's funny because I wrote in my notes LOL story, and I was like, why did I find this funny? But it was a League of Legends story. Song of Nunu, another League of Legends story. I like that they build the lore out of the League of Legends universe.
Yeah, I don't know. You probably didn't watch the Netflix show.
No, because I didn't play
you,
the games.
Or were you ever into League of Legends?
My buddy who passed away actually was huge into League of Legends, so I watched him play a lot.
Okay, yeah, the Netflix show they had. I've never been into anything League of Legends. I just watched the Netflix show, and it's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
Next up, we saw WarioWare Move It releases on November 3rd. Game looks hilarious.
Yeah, I love all WarioWare.
Honestly, this is probably one of the most enticing WarioWares I've seen since the OG. Like the amount of like I feel like they definitely took their time with this one, and like the ideas they came up with are very interesting.
It's my favorite party game.
I like the one where like you use the sensor to see your hand.
Yeah.
And either you said it or the person I was watching watch it said like, well, what if you only have 4 fingers?
Oh no,
like,
I didn't say it.
Are you not going to be able to like win the mini game if it says hold up 5?
Yeah, that's your handicap.
Yeah, right. Next up, we saw Yuden Chronicles 100 Heroes. This game looks really good. Comes out April 23rd. I think it's coming to Game Pass as well, so that's probably where I'm going to play it. Number 25, we saw Eastward Octopia, which is a DLC for Eastward. It's basically Stardew Valley. Not as good, in my opinion. We also saw...
Play Eastward?
I haven't played Eastward, but I'm just saying, like, looking at the trailer, I was like, this kind of looks like a ripoff of Stardew Valley. It didn't look... Wargroove 2 comes on October 5th. Apparently it's exclusive to the Switch. I did not know that. Wargroove is really cool. I played the first one. It's basically like Advance Wars tactics.
I was gonna say it looks like Advance.
Yeah, it's basically Advance Wars, but a little different. After that, we saw Dave the Diver, which was a big hit for a few people for like I think a few weeks this year.
Yeah.
Where you go diving. You go out diving during the day catching fish, and then at night you run your sushi restaurant.
But I heard it has like a really good story to it.
I've heard that too.
This looks cool.
Yeah, it was a big hit for a few weeks there, which is crazy because this year, very hard year to find a footing. Yeah. Dave the Diver did for a week. And then we got the final wave of Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. Devroro, it's finally happening. Yet a game that launched on the system, its final piece of support comes out.
It launched before, right? I mean, I guess technically Mario Kart 8
did, but Deluxe came out. It was a Switch launch title. Yeah. Or I think it came out like a few weeks after, but it's still like a launch.
Oh, you can switch what it bundled.
How old is this game?
Well, Mario Kart 8 was a Wii U game.
I was gonna say, I feel like this game's been out for years.
Yeah, it has been. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe came out on the Switch as like a remaster with all the content on it. And then they just kept bringing content out like every few months, the entire Switch life cycle.
They took maps from the mobile game and even converted it.
All of the games have
maps.
So this being the final one, it adds 3 characters: Diddy Kong, Funky Kong, Pauline. 4 characters, and Chet. And it adds a new course from the Nintendo Wii version, Daisy Circuit. Good map. Cool. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is very, very full package. Next up we got Among Us with a trailer for their new map, the Fungal. Looks really cool. I would love to play Among Us. I never have anyone to play. I never have anyone to play with. I love those social deception kind of games. So I would love to play some. Dude, my biggest knock against them is that they need voice chat like in their in the base.
Yeah.
Like that's a big thing because I would love to just go online and just launch up a game.
Does it have proximity chat in like PC or anything like that?
There's a mod for it, yes. Because I used to watch people play and they would have proximity. So, I think it's a mod.
If you're a fan of Among Us, Walmart has Halloween costumes right now that are inflatable Among Us suits, and they're enormous. Cool. They're hilarious.
That's good. And I think that's everything from the Nintendo Direct, right?
You son of a bitch.
I think that's it. So I guess we can move on.
Hold on. Wait a second. Dever, I need to tell you something. So there are many moments in my life where there is no joy. Pro wrestling bums me the fuck out these days. Video games, I'm enjoying Starfield. So I mean, I guess, but there was a lot of discourse around it. Obviously, real life adult shit, work sucks, everything sucks. You just wake up, it's another day closer to death.
The end. All right, the PlayStation show.
But however, there are every now and then a moment comes along.
A little bit of joy.
We're just pure joy. And when they did this Nintendo Direct, right, they were just like, we have one more thing to show. Now, here's the thing. I'm sitting here like, the Switch is winding down. So, like, I'm not expecting anything big. I'm not expecting anything crazy. I don't know what I'm expecting. But it definitely wasn't Paper Mario the 1,000-Year Door getting remade. And when this, look, here's the thing. I once looked a man in the eyes. At the time, he was a child. And I was also a child. But whatever.
It's getting weird.
When I was in high school, I looked someone in the eye,
Yeah.
and I told him that I was like, Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door is better than Final Fantasy VII. And I broke his brain. He lost it. He's just like, I can't even talk to you. He walked away.
That's the correct reaction, by the way.
Which, no, I love Final Fantasy VII, so I was kind of trolling him a little bit. But at the same time, I think, number one, this is my favorite Mario game of all time. Not just my favorite Mario RPG game. Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door is one of the greatest games. It's one of my favorites. Top 5. Especially if I can't count Zelda games. Like, take Zelda out of it, this is easily a top 5, maybe even a top 3. Maybe even a top 2. Like, I love this game. So this game getting remastered and remade was just so incredible for me. Pure joy. Comes out 2024. I would have loved the release date. But I will drop absolutely everything. I don't care what I'm playing. When this comes out, I am absolutely going to be...
It'll probably come out on both consoles. Switch.
It might. I don't know. The fact that they just kind of hit us with the 2024, I thought that was really interesting.
A lot of these games are dropping. I can't imagine you don't bring them.
I don't know.
Unless there's backwards compatibility already.
I think that might be the thought process. Yeah. But, so, Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door. I absolutely love this game. Good. Bro, again, I understand you said, that's the correct reaction. This game is just... This is a 10 out of 10 times 10. It's like... The writing is great. The story is great. The gameplay is solid. It's rock solid RPG play. Is it a little on the simple end? Sure. It's not the most complex RPG. But, complexity doesn't always equal good, in my opinion. The art's great. This was in an era where they weren't afraid to make a bunch of characters. There's a bunch of different characters. Jeff, you would love the Glitz Pit section of the game, especially as a wrestling fan. You would absolutely love the Glitz Pit. Yeah, this game is just so cool. I'm so happy. Again, very few moments of pure joy left in my life. I can't even enjoy the Eagles. The Eagles, they go out there, they win, they're 2-0. My heart wasn't in my chest during those games. It was tough. You were here. You saw me. It's not good. But Paper Mario 1,000-Year Door. That's pure joy. I jumped out of my seat. I was yelling. I showed you reaction videos.
Show me reaction.
I'm not alone.
No, I know. I've heard things about it.
But yeah, so this game's incredible. But so yeah, that was the Nintendo Direct. Absolutely. I mean, I'm gonna have a bias on the grade here, so I guess I'll start with you and Jeff. So Dev, what would you give this Nintendo Direct a letter grade?
Give it an A, I guess. I hate grading these things. It was okay. It did nothing for me going through the entire thing. I think the best thing was the Peach.
Okay.
The Peach game. Nothing else did anything for me. If I'm Horizon Chase, Super Rhythm, Castle, the Mario RPG. I'm not a Mario RPG person. Another Code. None of these things did anything for me. The Peach game looked the best, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
So
okay.
It's whatever, I guess.
All right. Jeff, you want to give it a grade?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a B plus, maybe A minus. The F-Zero 99 really, really interested me there. And that Paper Mario game looked incredible. So they kind of, they capped it off with a really good one there at the end.
Right. So obviously, I'm giving this an A plus.
What would you give this grade without Paper Mario?
An A minus. So, because I was
Okay.
about to say, when I look at this direct, number one, and maybe it's wrong to kind of grade it on a curve, because I'm also going to be grading the PlayStation State of Play on a curve. When we get to that, this Nintendo Direct, the Switch is dying. It's on the end of its life cycle, which is understandable. So like, I think for what we saw from this Direct, knowing that like I'm expecting a year from today to have the next console in my household, like I think that this last year of support for the Switch is I'm gonna just go on the limb and say it's unheard of.
That
like
I will agree.
The
with.
amount of support that this console's getting as they sunset it,
yeah.
even if it's backwards compatible, because if it's backwards compatible, you're also supporting the Super Switch.
Yeah.
But like, let's just assume that we know nothing, which is that it's not going to be backwards compatible. The last year of this console, insane. Like,
I agree with that.
Is it a lot of remasters and ports? Yeah, it is. But you also have like Princess Peach Showtime, which I think looks incredible. Again, for a second,
and I think
just for a second, I'm going to take Thousand Year Door out of the equation. I'm going to put it over here right next and like hold it dear, but it's over here.
Yeah.
Like I look at this Direct and I walk out of it feeling really good about your first party because you got Princess Peach Showtime, which looks great. Mm-hmm. You got Mario RPG, which looks phenomenal. And then like I'm even looking at the third party and I'm like, oh shit, Tomb Raider? Like that's really cool. Like there's just a lot of cool stuff here. F-Zero 99 Shadow drops, you get that Shadow like available now.
Yeah.
Thing, and that was really fun. I really enjoyed that. You had the stupid trombone game, which made me laugh. So it's like I had a great time with this Direct, and especially considering it's on the end of the life cycle. Got some amiibos in there, so my Odyssey's coming to an end. Like a lot of great stuff, and then so now we can pick it up and put it back on top. You give me Paper Mario 1000 Year fucking Door. That's an A plus. It's an A plus. It's an A plus. Absolutely loved it. Incredible.
I agree with that. Like. The Switch. Everyone knows the Switch is this is it.
This is it.
This is the last.
This is the last ride. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like they're
get to put all of this out.
Even things that I don't really care about, like Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, Detective Pikachu. Like there's a lot of first party support here. You know, like Mario versus Donkey Kong. Like that's the thing. Like I'm not even talking about everything that we saw here. You know, if you like Splatoon, you got a roguelike Splatoon coming. Like they cover the bases. Does it have like the only knock against it that I could give? And for me, Thousand Year Door covers it anyway. But like, there is no nuclear bomb announced. There's no new Mario 3D game. There's no Smash Brothers. There's no new Zelda game. And I don't even mean a port. I mean like, there's no new Zelda. Like, but like, we already had all of those this generation. So it's like you don't really have any more of those shots to fire off. You know what I mean? So it's like, okay, like that's cool. I'm good with it.
I would probably rate this whole Direct 5 trombones out of 5.
That's fair. I would accept that. 5 very well played trombones.
Yeah.
All right, let's move along real quick and cover the PlayStation State of Play. Not too much to go over, but we're gonna run through it. First up, we saw Baby Steps. I think this game looks like something that I really want to watch someone play.
It looks like a funny game.
I don't want to play this myself. It was very funny though.
It looks like something like what's the game? Getting Over It, I think was the game called, or something like that. It's a rage game. You're gonna rage when you play this.
You're gonna rage when you play this.
It looks funny.
It was very funny where he's like, why don't you just grapple that fucker? Yeah, I'm gonna grapple that fucker. Yeah, I'm just gonna grapple it.
Yeah, it looks very janky, but like in a fun way.
Yeah, like again, like I'm never gonna play this game because I don't want to play it.
Yeah,
I'm going to watch people play this.
I would love to watch you if you streamed it or whatever to play a rage game.
All right, maybe
some kind of rage game.
Maybe we.
I think that'd be entertaining.
Maybe I'm sure you would love to see me.
I would love it.
You'll hold Paper Mario 1000 Year Door and just like break it.
If you don't finish this game,
be on the ground in pieces. We also got Roblox announced as we discussed last week on the pod. Ghostbusters: Rise of the Ghost Lord coming to PSVR 2. It's the kind of VR experience I expect to see on PlayStation VR 2, so good on them for making that. Resident Evil 4 Remake is getting a VR mode. At which point okay, I don't need to play that. Personally, I mean, I just played Resident Evil 4 Remake, so I'm not dying to play a VR mode of it.
Yeah.
Dude, screw that. Playing any Resident Evil in VR? No way. That's like asking for nightmares. No, thank you.
Yeah, that's fair. Resident Evil 4 Remake also, as we talked about earlier, got its story DLC announced starring Ada Wong, Separate Ways, coming out September 21st for $9.99. After that we saw Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora. As someone who's not really interested in the Avatar IP, think the game looks good. I think it looks like a damn good game. Actually, I'm kind of surprised. I was expecting it to look worse.
I told you. I think I talked about it before. It looks like a Far Cry game with the skin of Avatar.
Yeah, that's a good way to.
In a good way. I don't like. Yeah, no, that's not a like a.
Yeah, no, that's a great way to put it. After that, we got the PlayStation Deep Earth collection of red, blue, and what I swore to God was just white, but it turns out it's silver. Red, blue, and silver plates.
I don't know. So I don't understand the marketing or anything of it.
They really overhyped it. Like they spent way too much time.
Why aren't there like so many colors all over the place? Why aren't there so many cases all over the place? Same thing with Xbox. I know they just started with the wraps. The wraps. I hope they stick with that. I hope there's more of that. Like these should be everywhere. Like it's people are gonna buy it. It's money.
I agree. Next up we saw Helldiver 2. Now I think you were more positive on this than me. No, did I miss something?
Ghost Runner. I don't know if that's later on down.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Yeah, Ghost Runners. I don't have it in the script. I guess I missed that one. I do remember seeing that though.
Yeah, Ghost Runners looks really good.
Ghost Runners looks really good. Wow. After that, we saw Helldiver 2. So you were more high on this second time around. I liked the game the first time it was shown more than the second time. I don't know why, but it just didn't
Helldivers?
It didn't really click for me this time around. I thought the reveal was a really good reveal trailer.
This looks like a very fun and so Jeff, watch a little bit of Helldivers and tell me what you think. It reminds me a lot of Destiny. In that just playing with friends, doing a mission with friends in that way. And that's where to me it looks like a lot of fun. I could see us playing it. Or
dude, even the trailer looks just like one of the original trailers for Destiny. It very much looks like Destiny, yeah.
Very reminiscent of Destiny. In a good way though. Like I could see us playing this and it fun, killing bugs or whatever.
Yeah. Next up, we got some information on Spider-Man 2. New areas, Queens, Brooklyn, new and memorable locales in the Spider-Man lore.
Which I wasn't expecting because I thought it was supposed to be a third-party indie direct. But
yeah, no, I was very surprised to see Spider-Man 2 because they did say that. They were like third-party. But again, we'll talk about the overall presentation afterwards. They also say that you'll be able to switch on the fly between Peter and Miles. There will be Marvel showdowns. There's challenges, and there will be showdowns with Marvel. Well, they say Marvel showdowns not yet seen in the Spider-Man. That's exciting.
Cool.
I can't wait to play as Miles.
Yeah, right. Side activities are in the game. You'll get specific requests. Some of them will be specific to your character. For example, Miles Morales will get a call to go to his school and be Spider-Man there because they need Spider-Man. It'll be his specifically. Stuff like that. Really cool. The fast travel is really fast. I know, Jeff, you have the B-roll playing, and at some point during this, they're going to show the fast travel, and it is very impressive. The fast travel in this game.
I think that's the benefit of having a single console in your ecosystem that Xbox is missing out on.
I agree. We've talked about that a lot. So, and then also a bunch of new abilities, new suits, over 65 new suits in this game.
That was probably the coolest part. Yeah. I know that's a big thing with the Spider-Man, the first game, and just Spider-Man in general, suits, like having cool suits. And
so here's like a funny thing about me is like a lot of times
you are a default suit guy.
I am. Yeah. When I played Spider-Man and especially Miles Morales, like I love the extra suits.
And the suits aren't just cosmetic too, right? In the game, they offer abilities and stuff like that you don't.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. They do. But yeah, so like I loved like messing around with custom suits in this game, and so like or in the last game. So for them to bring back like 65 of them, like
yeah, that's awesome.
While I am a default suit guy, like I am going to be messing around with suits. That is something I'm going to do in this game. And it comes out October 20th. I think this game looks absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get my hands on this and play it. Yeah. I mean that's pretty much it. The new flying mechanic looks really cool, and just this game's gonna rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. This is the first time I've seen a Spider-Man game where I'm like, I actually want to play this, like for real.
Oh, really? I love Spider-Man games. I haven't been playing them since like GameCube. It was the last time I played a Spider-Man
game. The Spider-Man for the PS4 was really good, and then Miles Morales came out when it launched with the PS5, and that game was a short experience, but it was kind of meant to be like an expansion, like an appetizer for this game.
It just showed the fast travel, so good.
Oh yeah, for sure. So I have a theory about this game. I'm just gonna throw it out there. Maybe we'll see if I'm right or wrong. So obviously we know Venom's in this game. I wonder.
We also know Kraven.
We do know Kraven's in this. So obviously in Spider-Man 1 you play as Peter, right? Spider-Man 2, you play as Peter and Miles. Wouldn't it be crazy in Spider-Man 3 if you switch between Peter, Miles, and Venom?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be dope? I was just thinking about that today when I was watching this because I was getting prepared for the podcast and I was rewatching the State of Play and I was like, 1, 2, 3. That would be a really cool little.
Who else do you think we'll see? Since we might as well speculate. Do
Do
you think we'll see Wolverine from their next game?
I think they're gonna do a tease.
A tease. Okay.
When they say Marvel Showdowns, I guarantee you something's gonna be like loosely related to.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if we actually see Wolverine himself.
I think we do.
I mean, they might do like a post-credit thing where it's like teasing, like, hey, because Wolverine's gonna come out before Spider-Man 3, I would assume. So
like see a mission where you have to go. And this guy has knives. You gotta go stop him. You know,
right.
Fighting at a bar.
Yeah, right. That would be really cool, actually.
Yeah. Be some Fantastic Four character.
Hey, I mean, they have the IP. Do it, man.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for this game. What a year we're living, where it's like I was thinking about it, and it's just like, because again, I was talking last week about how I think like console wars are stupid. I like giving shit to PlayStation fans because I find them obnoxious. But like, bro, I played Zelda Tears of the Kingdom this year. Played Starfield this year. And I'm gonna play Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
That's a great year when you got the big three, putting out their big shots.
Yeah.
And all of them I'm loving because, like I said, Starfield, as you go on, it just gets, it's like it just keeps. So
it's one of those things, like you can already tell this game is going to be a Game of the Year contender.
For sure.
2. Yeah.
I mean, again, I am in the point where I do think Starfield is in the discussion too. Okay. I really do think that. But we'll talk about that when we get to the year and our end of the year coverage here on the Game Room podcast. Let's wrap this up though. We saw Tales of Arise Beyond the Dawn DLC. Tales of Arise is a game that's on my backlog, and I really want to get to it. Hopefully, I do.
Yeah, we talked about this before. It seems like your kind of game.
Yeah. Next up, we saw Foam Stars. It looks terrible. Square Enix. Sorry, man.
I completely disagree.
Take the L, Square Enix. This game is gonna bomb. I'm calling it right now. Talk about calling our shots here on the podcast.
Whether it bombs or not, I can't say.
This game's gonna bomb
actually, you know what I will say.
Nobody cares about Foam Stars.
I don't think and I disagree.
Well, you're wrong. So there you go.
I don't know how, like, it's Splatoon. It's a more anime version of Splatoon. You know
but you know what? People that want to play Splatoon, I'm gonna flip this on you. It's like anyone that wants to play Splatoon is already playing Splatoon.
But like.
Now it's different. Now it's
because
different.
Anyone that wants to play any type of, you went from. Okay, how about this? There are, like I said before, there are other games that do game modes.
Sure.
Just differently.
Okay. Yeah, this doesn't look good. This doesn't look as good as Splatoon does.
I mean, that's your opinion. I disagree.
Well, that's your right, I guess, to be wrong. Anyways, last up, we got a trailer.
Like hating on Sony, but
no,
let's move on.
What do you mean? I literally said Spider-Man 2 looks phenomenal, but how is I hating on Sony?
You like to hate on
If
Sony.
anything, it's more hating on Square Enix. At least be consistent. However, you're about to be proven wrong again because they showed Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, February 29th. All I wrote in my notes is God fucking damn. I'm so excited for this game. I'm so excited. I love the first Final Fantasy VII remake. It comes so high in on my ranking of like games of all time. It's like one of the more recent games to say I would say crack my top 20. Like, yeah, I feel pretty confident saying I love this game so much, and so the sequel looks dope. Everything about it looks great. I can't wait. So your little thing you're trying to pull here on me that I don't
hate Sony.
Yeah, like I just praised Spider-Man 2, so I don't hate Sony, and then I just praised Final Fantasy VII Remake, so I don't hate Square Enix.
You like two of the games.
I love Horizon. I love God of War. I love Last of Us. It's on my backlog.
Did you play Horizon 2?
It's on my backlog. That's not. I had bought them though. On my PS5, playing them. Devroro, I think you're just. So why don't you go ahead and give your grade for this PlayStation State of Play?
I'll give it 3 Spider-Man suits out of 3.
It's interesting. What would you say as a letter?
I don't do letter grades anymore.
Letter grades are good. What do you mean no?
I'll give it an S for Spider-Man.
That's fine then. Okay, so you think an A++. Great.
Oh no, not A++.
No, you said S, so it's good.
S. Just the letter S.
Yeah, just the letter S.
Yeah.
S tier.
Not S tier.
A++.
Not the S tier.
Yeah.
Just.
Okay. Did you think it was a good showcase?
It didn't seem necessary, honestly.
Okay.
It felt like you could put out a Final Fantasy Rebirth, and then you could put out a Spider-Man suit thing, and like, I guess you want it all together. And I don't know. It just didn't feel necessary.
Okay, so you don't actually give it a 3 out of 3.
No, I gave it 3 Spider-Man suits out of 3 Spider-Man suits. But
would you recommend this as a good showcase? Was it a good showcase? It's a yes or no question. Good showcase.
I guess. Yeah.
Guess.
Good. Yeah.
Okay. I'll give it a B plus.
Sure.
I agree with Dev here when he says it wasn't necessary. This definitely felt like YouTube just wanted some views.
So here's my thing. I will say that I absolutely graded on a curve because state of plays have been absolutely awful. There has not been one state of play where I sat there at the end and I was like, this was worth watching. Good showcase.
I disagree with that. There have been maybe 2 that I thought.
I don't remember. But watching this showcase, like, it did a better job at accomplishing its goals for its customers than their showcase did in, where it was like, hey, like, what's the first party look like? What's the exclusives for PlayStation? Well, here's Spider-Man. Looks great. Like, they gave you a little bit of a deep dive, not too long. It showed you like gameplay stuff, which like we don't need to see any more story about the game. Game looks phenomenal. That was great. You end up with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which also looks phenomenal. You hit us with a great story trailer. Looks great. I'm really looking at everything. Like, were there surprises here? No, there's no surprises. But again, like, that's why I say I'm grading it on a curve, because like I usually think the state of plays are terrible, whereas I thought everything here looked really good. I mean, Resident Evil VR. I mean, I still need to see more first-party VR support. I think that's a serious shortcoming on PlayStation's part, in my opinion. But like, I think they cover a lot of bases here, so I give it a B. Yeah, I'm down. I'm off the B plus now, but I'll give it a B. And then Jeff, you said you're pretty much with Dev on it, where it just seemed like a waste of time.
He also gives it 3 Spider-Man.
Not necessarily a waste of time. It just felt like a grab for some YouTube views. You know what I mean? Kind of like a commercial they wanted to throw out there.
Okay.
Which I think is
well.
Fine,
I mean, to be fair, all showcases are commercial.
True.
That's true, but I do think it's like, again, this is geared towards like it was supposed to be indie and third-party stuff, and
which technically is cheating then, because they really lowered expectations on you, and then they hit you with Spider-Man. So like that could have also been a tactic. But again, I'm always going to grade these on like how excited do they make me feel about the next 6 months to a year about your brand. You know what I mean? When I look at that direct, how excited am I How excited am I that I own a Nintendo Switch for the next year? Answer to that is very excited. How do I feel about that PlayStation? I know that I'm playing Spider-Man 2 in November, and I know I'm playing Final Fantasy Rebirth in February. So
I will say,
dope.
Just scrolling the games they had, I don't think there was a bad game there.
But there's no surprises.
There's no surprises at all.
Right, that's a knocking.
To see more of a game that's like I guess these third-party developers want to show off their games, so I think it's fair to like, have something where they can give them a stage to stand on.
Right.
There's nothing bad that was here. I even including Foam Stars. I think everything's here.
It's debatable.
You get what you get. You know what you're getting, and it's fine.
Yeah. Cool. All right. You got anything else for us, Dev? No. Still playing Zelda?
Yeah. I'm gonna wait till the Super Switch comes out. I'll finish the second half.
No, you can't go that long
4K,
without
60 frames.
All right, well then you need to put it down and start playing Starfield. Like, come on, man, stop it. Enough.
No, I'm still playing.
I know you are. No.
Want to?
You really got to get on that. All right, cool. Well, this has been episode 39, apparently, of the Game Room Podcast. Thank you to everyone hanging out with us here tonight, talking video games. We will be back Wednesday night for the Broken Tables podcast, talking about AEW Dynamite. I'm also going to be giving some thoughts on AEW Collision since we didn't do a pod on Saturday. Make sure you like and subscribe on your way out. Also subscribe to become a member. You get the really cool video game arcade cabinet badge next to your name, which will upgrade as time goes on. You also get access to some really cool AEW emojis. Make sure you utilize that as well. It's really cool. You can follow us on Twitter in the description below. Other than that, catch you guys next time. Paper Mario 1000 Year Door, man. Living the dream.